Hello. Am I audible, students? I hope I am audible. Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to start the previous chapter that we have discussed, that is change and development in rural society. So, in the earlier class, in the previous class, we have discussed the whole chapter very, very briefly for your understanding. And today we are going to discuss some important PYQs and MCQs from your board's perspective as well as from your CUET perspective that is going to happen on 2026. So yes, let's get started. Now, if you remember, we have discussed all the structural changes that were taking place in the rural agrarian structure of the rural areas or the rural society, and how it has developed from the very, very agrarian type of society to a developed agrarian type of society, that is a commercial based agrarian rural society. So we will be discussing 30 questions here today. So let's start with the first question. Which of the following refers to the process by which the ownership of land shifts from large landowners to cultivators? So how does the ownership rights were being taking place? Right, in this chapter we have discussed all kinds of land reforms that were previously there and how it has changed after the Britishers came or the Green Revolution came and after independence as well. After India got its independence as well, right? So how did the ownership of land shifted or changed from large landlords to the cultivators, to the landless laborers, to the wage earners or the wage workers? Number one, green revolution. Two, land reform. C, industrialization. Or four, urbanization. So what will this be? What is the process? How it shifted? So it will be answer B, land reforms. Coming to the next question, the term Jajmani system refers to. Now, what is a Jajmani system? It is a kind of an exchange system. I am a wage worker and someone will be a large landowner. So we will be exchanging our labor. I will give my labor, and in exchange I will be getting grain or any kind or cash, anything. So that is the term, that is the explanation of Jajmani system. So the term Jajmani system will be referring to relationship between landlord and tenant, exchange of goods and services between different castes, distribution of land among peasants, and cooperative farming. So it will be also option number B, exchange of goods and services between different castes. So earlier, different castes had their own occupational background, right? So I, as an Shudra or Vaishya, I will be offering in my kind of labor to the upper caste people, and that way we will be exchanging our labor, our services, and as well as goods. Question number 3. The Green Revolution primarily benefited which category of farmers? So Green Revolution was a very, very big revolution for India, right? To be able to be self-subsistence in our food grain production. So the Green Revolution is whom did the Green Revolution mainly benefited in our Indian society? Did it benefit the landless laborers or the small and marginal farmers, middle and large farmers, or the agricultural laborers? So it will be middle and large farmers. Why? Because they already had the money, the wealth, and through that wealth they could invest in those machinery productions or the machines or the tractors or the threshers or the HYV seeds as well. So HYV seeds were very, very expensive. So all the small farmers, they could not afford to have those HYV seeds. So it mainly benefited the middle and the large farmers. Now question number 4, which state in India was the first to implement land reform laws effectively? Was it Bihar, Kerala, Punjab and Uttar Pradesh? So the answer will be Uttar Pradesh. Very, very important questions, students. You have to be very, very careful while answering these questions, because they have very, very small differences. So it might be sometimes it might be very confusing. So you have to be very careful while answering these questions. Question number 5. Which among the following is not a feature of the Jajmani system? So, like we know, Jajmani system was a exchange system, right? For the goods and services, and it involved caste segregations. So, according to our own caste, we will be offering our services, our goods as well. So, apart from that, what is here? Which among the following is not a feature? So be very careful while reading, not a feature. Hereditary relationships, yes, it was a hereditary relationship. Why? Because when caste is there, that means it will be hereditary, because a Brahmin's son will be a Brahmin, a Kshatriya's son or daughter will be a Kshatriya, a Vaishya's son or daughter will be a Vaishya, and they will be doing all the kinds of occupations that their ancestors or their fathers or their mothers were doing. So it was a hereditary relationship. So yes, it will not be the answer. Money-based exchange, mutual obligations or interdependence of caste. So it will be money-based exchange, because in the earlier times in the Jajmani system, there was no money. When did money came to our land or came to India? After the Britishers. Okay, Britishers brought with them capitalism. And what does capitalism stands for? It stands for money. Okay, so when this money comes in our indigenous times, in our primitive times of India, we did not have this money as an exchange basis. Now, which of the following was not a component of land reform policy in India? Again, be very, diligent about studying the question. Which was not a component of land reform policy of India? Abolition of intermediaries, consolidation of holdings, urban land ceiling and tenancy reforms. So, land reform policy, that means the land ceiling act was there, right? Land ceiling act was there. Holdings were consolidated, right? Tenancy reforms were also there, because the tenancy, the money that the tenants had to give to the landlords, it was limited after the land reforms, right? So this was also there, this was also there, and this was also there. So which was not there? Abolition of intermediaries. So this will be the correct answer. The Green Revolution was introduced during which 5-year plan? So in which 5-year plan the Green Revolution was introduced in India? Was it second 5-year plan? Was it third 5-year plan? Fourth 5-year plan? Or fifth 5-year plan? So the answer will be point number B. It was the third 5-year plan when Green Revolution was implemented in India. The term cooperative farming means, so what does the term cooperative means? It means to cooperate. All the landowners, all the tenants, all the farmers, they will be cooperating and doing the farming, right? So that means what? So what does this cooperative farming mean? Individual ownership and individual cultivation? No. Collective ownership and collective cultivation? No. Individual ownership but collective cultivation. So answer will be point number C. Individual ownership but collective cultivation. Which of the following was an unintended social consequence of the Green Revolution? Unintended means करना नहीं चाहते थे but automatically ये हो जाता है. So that is unintended. So what was an unintended consequence of the Green Revolution? Increase in social equality, decrease in social class differentiation, widening of economic inequalities between farmers, or elimination of poverty. So Green Revolution, did it promoted equality? So we have understood that it did not provided equality, right? Region-wise also there was inequalities. Also there was inequalities in the agrarian structure as well, because there were the middle farmers, large landowners, there were the small wage workers, the landless laborers. So it was widening the gaps between the rich and the poor. So point number 1 will not be the correct answer. Decreasing class differentiation, no, this will also not be the right option. Why? Because it increased the class differentiation. It did not decrease. It widened the gap. Widening of economic inequalities between farmers. So yes, this will be the correct answer. It was widening the gap between the rich and the poor, or the rich farmers and the poor farmers. Now, come to number 12. The zamindari system was introduced by, who introduced the zamindari system? British, Mughals, French or Portuguese? So, it will be option number A, because in the whole chapter we have understood what the Britishers was doing, right? Not these other ethnicities. What was the Britishers doing? The Britishers were trying to rule over India, and that is how they consolidated everything. The caste system, the land holdings, everything was consolidated under the Britishers in Bengal. It started from Bengal. Question number 13. Rural society in India is described as heterogeneous because. So what does heterogeneous means? When there are so many varieties of ethnicity, caste, language, everything is different, right? That is termed as heterogeneous. And what does homogeneous mean? Homogeneous means similar, okay? Similar caste, similar ethnicities. When similar kind of ethnicities remains in a group, that means that community is a homogeneous community. So this is what does heterogeneous means. Rural society in India is described as heterogeneous because in the rural societies there are so many castes, right? So many languages were spoken, so many castes were there. So all people have equal access to land. Villages are isolated from towns. It consists of diverse caste, class, and occupational groups, or agriculture is the only occupation. So, like I have told you, it was heterogeneous means diversity. So, it will be option number C, because this spelling is there. This word is there, right? Diverse caste. Now, question number 14. One major limitation of land reforms in India was, what was the major limitation of our land reform policies? Limitation means negative, okay? Limitation or control means negative. So what was one major limitation? Strong support from landlord, that is a positive thing, right? So strong support, it will not be the correct answer. Always remember, limitation means negative. Lack of government involvement, poor implementation and loopholes in laws, or abolition of intermediaries. So it will be poor implementation and loopholes in laws. So we have seen that in our land reform policies, there were major loopholes. So I have explained in the previous, in the previous class when I was explaining the whole chapter. Please go through it. There I have explained these loopholes very nicely. You can go and check it out. Now, question number 15. The Green Revolution in India primarily aimed at, what was the major goal of the Green Revolution? Industrial growth, agricultural productivity, rural urban migration, or land reform? So, what was the major goal of Green Revolution in India? It was to be self-subsistent in our food grain production. सो फूड ग्रेन प्रोडक्शन में हम लोग सेल्फ सब्सिस्टेंस होंगे, सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग होंगे, इसीलिए ही ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन हमारे इंडिया में आया था. Term depeasantization refers to, peasants means the small landless laborers. So this word refers to landless laborers. So the term depeasantization refers to growth of agriculture. Depeasantization means there were landless laborers or the peasants, and now they are not the peasants anymore. They are either they are migrating to the industrial towns and cities for jobs or education, and etc. etc. So the term depeasantization will be referring to growth of agriculture, displacement of peasants from land, increase in small farmers or urbanization. So yes, it will be this one. Option number B, displacement of peasants from land. Number 17. Who conducted a famous study on dominant caste? So I have explained in the previous video as well what is a dominant caste. Go through it. So who conducted the famous study on dominant caste? M.N. Srinivas, A.R. Desai, Yogendra Singh or Andre Bete? Who will be? It will be option number A. Which factor most directly led to rural-urban migration after the Grain Revolution? So what was the most important factor that led to the migration of, small farmers, marginal farmers, landless laborers to the urban areas after the Green Revolution? Was it urban development, mechanization of agriculture, industrialization, or decrease in rural employment? So it will be option number D, mechanization of agriculture. So during mechanization of agriculture, what was happening? The landowners, they were directly doing the cultivation themselves. So when they were directly doing the cultivation themselves with the help of tractors, threshers, and every kind of mechanization that they could invest in their field. So for that reason, half of their employment, who were the marginal farmers or the landless laborers, they were cut off. Okay, they were unemployed in the rural sector. So they had to migrate to other parts of the cities or industrial towns in search of job, education, etc. Not education actually, because at that time these people did not have money, right? They did not have the money, so they were mainly looking for jobs in the urban centers. So this mechanization of agriculture was a major factor why the marginal farmers or the small landless laborers will have to migrate to other towns and cities. Cooperative farming was introduced to. Why was cooperative farming introduced or implemented? To replace individual ownership, to promote collective farming for efficiency, to reduce agricultural production, or to increase taxes. So it will be option number B. In order to do farming or cultivation collectively, the cooperative farming was introduced. Who wrote Social Background of Indian Nationalism? So, who was the writer of Social Background of Indian Nationalism? M.N. Srinivas, A.R. Desai, Andre Bete or Yogendra Singh? So, this will be point number D, A.R. Desai. The term Bhudan movement was started by. This Bhudan movement, Bhudan means to grant a land to someone. Okay, at that time what was happening? The people who the large landowners, they were granting the land to the landless laborers or all those kind of things. So this Bhudan movement, signifies that aspect when our land is granted to the people who were not resourceful enough. So the term Bhudan movement was started by Jawaharlal Nehru, Vinoba Bhave, Mahatma Gandhi or Jayaprakash Narayan. So it will be option number B. The term Bhudan movement, this is a similar question, so this will be not needed. Let's come to this question. Which sociologist studied class and power in the village of Shripuram? So, which sociologist studied class and power? क्लास एंड पावर किसने स्टडी किया था? एक सोशियोलॉजिस्ट, बहुत ही बड़ा सोशियोलॉजिस्ट जिसने क्लास एंड पावर, कास्ट सिस्टम में भी वो बहुत ही बहुत सारा काम किया है कास्ट सिस्टम में इन द विलेजेस, मेनली विलेज स्टडीज किया था. सो विच सोशियोलॉजिस्ट? इट विल बी आंद्रे बेटे. Now come to some assertion and reason questions. Assertion. The Green Revolution led to an increase in agricultural productivity in India. So yes, the Green Revolution did increase agricultural production in India, right? It did increase productivity in India because, always write because to understand the reason, okay? Because the Green Revolution introduced high yielding variety seeds, chemical fertilizers and modern irrigation methods. So yes, It will be point number A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. The Green Revolution benefited all farmers equally in rural India. So will this be a correct answer? No. This did not benefit it. It did not benefit. Reason, government policies ensure equal distribution of land and resources. So yes, A is false, but R is true. So government policies ensure equal distribution of land and resources. Question number 26. Land reforms aimed to reduce inequality in rural societies. So yes, land reforms aim to reduce the inequalities in rural societies because land reforms included measures like abolition of zamindari, tenancy reforms and ceiling of land holdings. So yes, this will also be option number A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Question number 27. The Jajmani system represented interdependence among different castes in a village. So yes, this is the right assertion because it was hereditary system of exchange of goods and services between various caste groups. So yes, this will also be option number B. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Rural development in India has been uniform and balanced. So was rural development very, very balanced and stable? No. This will be the wrong statement. Government initiatives have, this will be a wrong statement. Government initiatives have ensured equitable growth across all regions. So yes, did government initiative ensure equitable growth across all regions? So this will also be false. So both A and R are false. Okay. Question number 29. Mechanization of agriculture reduced employment opportunities for rural laborers. So yes, this is a correct assertion because machines replaced manual work in many agricultural activities. So yes, both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. The last question. The Green Revolution led to an increase in social and economic inequalities in rural India. So yes, this is a very correct assertion because large farmers were able to benefit more. Yes, they were able to benefit more, right? Because they could afford modern inputs like HYV seeds, fertilizers and irrigation facilities. So this will also be point number A. Both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation. So that was all for today, guys. I hope this session was very, very exciting and helpful to you guys from both perspective as well as from CUET perspective. So in the next chapter, in the next class, we will be discussing another important chapter that will be very, very important from your board as well as for your CUET. So stay connected and this is our address. If you want to get connected with us, you can call in this number and this is our address for our offline center as well. So yes, now take care. Bye-bye.